Hello, and greetings of peace and welcome. My name is Anthea Alexander, and I'm a wellness coach, and I'm co hosted by my amazing colleague and friend, Yogi Sanjivana or Sanji. And this evening, we are going to have an open discussion about the topic of compassion. So we could talk about it as perhaps the power of compassion or the art of compassion, compassion in daily life. Or I was also even thinking about like choosing compassion because I feel that it's a choice. It's a way that we can choose to live. And Sanji and I connected on LinkedIn some months ago, and we basically had a discussion and came up with the idea of collaborating. And we've certainly been doing that in lots of ways over the past months, which has been amazing. And one of the ways that we're collaborating is by hosting these weekly open conversations, which are open, as I said. So anybody is welcome to join us. And each week we discuss different topics that we feel are of relevance to ourselves and to the world at large, and also topics that fit under our larger heading or our larger theme of living consciously in 2025. So anyone is welcome to join us, to ask questions, to offer feedback, to even offer suggestions about what topics they might like us to speak about. So that's basically a bit of background to our session tonight. I'll hand it over to Sandy for him to introduce himself and a bit more, let you know, share about a bit more about what he does. And then I would love to talk a little bit more about some of the work that we do together. And then we can get started on our topic. So over to you, Sandy.
Okay, thank you so much, Anthea. It's always a great pleasure to be here. Sometimes I get late and I do some stuff. Or the internet plays games or something. That's all some kind of thing, like activity around those things. So, but I'm very happy to be here, and Anthea is so precise and like so diligent, and like she finds all these beautiful topics, and the enthusiasm and the energy she has, even if she's sick or like tired, or even if she needs rest, he always joins in. Sometimes we have natural things happening from lightning, like then storms, and then like power failures, and also we are not. But other time we were really consistent. Now each week we had this, and we have all lined this up, and we make the video. So we try to make it for in our capability. We try to make them as best as we could. We put time and effort also to that. So and hopefully, like people, not hopefully, we really want people or need people to like really take use. Maybe in 10 years, 20 years, or anything, I don't know, and they will be there. Immediate would be very nice, and but we won't step down like that. So and yeah, I am Sanjeev, and a meditation teacher, and we do a lot of things like related to spirituality, and we want to help many others along the path, and uh, physically as well as mentally we want to help. And me and Anthea, we have been working together, and she's trying to motivate me and do a lot of things onto that. And yeah, and we try to promote or we help people in the health, well and wellness side also, and offer people really good products and things that are really helpful. And we try to collaborate or like join with other coaches who are in good coaching practices, and who are like really good people who are on the thinking about the welfare of humanity, as well as even the environment, these kind of things. So we work mostly on like non-profit basis to help people. And this what we do is like so anybody can join and make themselves better. and even help their families or make you an extra income from this. So I think Anthea knows about it much more than me, even better. So I'm still in the learning curve, so learning process of it. And Anthea, would you please like to how to say make people aware of what we are doing?
Sure, I'd love to. So thanks for introducing yourself, Sanji, and explaining about the beautiful work that you do, the beautiful humanitarian work. So both Sanji and I are affiliated, well, we're actually members of an organization called Lifestyle Management Group, or LMG. And our philosophy is 80% nutrition or smart supplementation, 20% movement, and also 100% mindset. So we are affiliated with the world's number 1 global nutrition company. And so we work as wellness coaches to help people to manage their weight. So they may want to lose weight, gain weight, maintain weight. They also may have other health goals that they're wanting to achieve. So we can work one-on-one with people and help them to, provide recommendations. Well, first of all, we can go through their health goals with them with a wellness evaluation. We can provide some recommendations according to their budget and their needs. And then we can, if people want to work with us and they go ahead and work with us, we can actually provide ongoing coaching. So that way it helps people to be accountable and to make sure that they achieve their goals and also their dreams, because there's 2 ways that we help people. We help people with their health results. We can also help people with earning extra income. So if they're wanting to earn extra income, we look at help people to, write a list of goals and dreams. And then we actually help people to be accountable and help them to earn extra income in alignment with their goals and their dreams. So that's what we do, and very beautiful, fulfilling work. We have an amazingly supportive community, which also keep us accountable and help to remind us. We also undertake quite a high level of personal development, and part of the actually most important role that we do as part of our work is to develop ourselves, and then that way we can help other people in the best way possible. So if this sounds of interest to you in any way, it might be that you're looking for a supportive community, you might be looking for health results, you might be looking for extra income, please feel free to reach out to Sanji or myself, and we can have a chat with you, perhaps the 2 of us together and yourself, but certainly reach out to us. We can have a chat and we can talk about your goals and needs, and then we can take it from there. So that's basically what we do. All right, so moving on. So tonight's conversation topic is compassion. And I was sometimes the topics come easily, sometimes it's a little bit more, takes a little bit more waiting or meditating or prayer or guidance. But this morning, so I was thinking about our topic last night, and usually Sanji is reaching out, Anthea, what are we going to talk about Friday night? And he didn't reach out, but I thought I've got to think about it anyway. So this morning when I woke up, I have a new morning practice that I do, and that morning practice is I usually drink some warm water. And when I was drinking my warm water, I've started making an intention for the day when I drink the warm water or warm drink. And the intention today I felt that came up for me was about showing compassion to all the people that I came in contact with, and the beings, animals as well, and plants, and myself. So I thought, okay, let's perhaps discuss compassion. So I reached out to Sanji. He thought that was a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll mention some points about compassion, and then we can, just discuss as we normally do. We discuss things quite organically and share our experience and stories and examples for real life. So compassion, I had a look at. I just did a little bit of research online. So, and I'm also speaking from my experience and my thoughts. So, compassion, it's mostly with the definitions. It's about towards other people.
Mm-hmm.
So the actual definition is about. It's actually about like suffering together.
Mm-hmm.
It's about, but it's also about empathizing with someone, and so feeling their suffering, and it's also about another action step, and that's about feeling compelled to ease someone's suffering or to help them.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also have compassion towards ourselves, so we just add the word self compassion is compassion towards ourselves. So I guess that's about empathizing or being aware of our own suffering, and then also taking steps to ease our own suffering. Then there's different aspects that we can look at this from. We can look at it from a psychological aspect. We can look at it from like a in daily life aspect. We can also examine it from different faiths and how they talk about compassion. And there are three different types of compassion. We can talk about that shortly that I found.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I would love to talk about, to examine the difference between compassion, empathy, and also altruism, because they're just slightly different.
Uh-huh.
So they're all about the desire, the willingness to help other people, but it's just coming from slightly different angles. So I'd really love to talk about those as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just sort of setting the scene for our discussion. But I would love to hand it over to you now, Sanji, and to hear some of your thoughts and experience about compassion.
Oh, thank you, Anthea. So great you found those details. I was also doing some research about it, and we hear about compassion, no? Yeah, and so usually they say like uh, when you see the suffering of others, uh, so we can some people laugh about it, right? Or they can no, they laugh about it, or sometimes it can look like a joke to them when somebody's like having some difficulty or pain. And you see modern day, sometimes they video it, put it online, but actually that person is in difficulty, or they put somebody into difficulty, maybe some foolish prank or something, and then they like try to how to say popularize so that fact. But this is like the opposite. Some people, yeah, they can be happy, or yeah, they want to see people's pain. uh, so that is also a thing. And there are in some, it's strange, like some people, in ancient times, like when people, okay, I'll tell you like a little thing incident that happened. There was one guy who was in a shipwreck. uh, and what happened was like the whole ship like got destroyed, and he somehow other survived. But it's not a bad thing. This is what really happened. So he didn't even have his clothes. Everything got destroyed. So what he did was like he came, and he didn't have anything to cover himself. So he took the barks of the trees and made like with maybe vines, like the strings, just to cover like. He maybe he didn't need much. Though he was a male, and then so maybe the lower part of his body or something. He just used something just to cover uh, himself. And then when the people saw this, what happened was they thought like, wow, this is a person who even let go of clothes. Uh, not only material possessions like house or wives or anything, husbands and wives, children, and properties or vehicles at that time, which can relate to modern times even, no? Vehicles then, vehicles here, right? And then, so even he didn't have the, like, even the for clothing, he's just wearing barks of trees. So they venerated him as he was like an enlightened being. Uh, and they were like offering him things and all and these things, no? And it says like after some time he also thought like, okay, if all these people are like venerating me, maybe I am. So there are things like that. So I also have seen like in the journey and all these things, like how people come and say, "Oh wow!" Though they say that they are in a recluse, like look at their place. They are like how to say, like cottages are like much better than our places. No, they are so luxurious. They say they renounce everything, but there's no, yeah, so no rule that anybody should suffer or anything. I know that they are like flashing their gold and like not like that. No, if they are like people, they say like who have gone forth, maybe, or beyond. But that doesn't mean they have to like be in hearts and like deprived of everything. If they choose, they can. Uh, but so like people want to see people suffering in a way, uh, and then sometimes they have this kind of like satisfaction through that also. But in that world, if somebody sees the suffering of another and really feels it, and they say their hearts melt uh, when they see, not sad actually, but the heart melts, not like rock, uh, and they want to help them in some possible way. There were some people, it said like they were so poor, but they at least pointed, okay, there's a place like a food center or like a soup kitchen. They didn't have any money, no? So they said they became like deities and they had the power from the finger to create anything. And they were ashamed to say the good deed they have done. If you want, I'll tell the story later. But so, yeah. Uh, yeah, Anthea, so it's like when you feel that compassion. And I think this is something we lack in the world so much now. And we should teach our children and everything, no? Everybody and everybody's in search and reach for this, and with all these wars and all these problems happening, if people had the compassion, they would not want, if they call the other person an enemy even, they would not want to have their worst enemy also go through those kind of situations, no? uh, so yeah, it's a great topic, and yeah.
Thank you, Sanji. So, what I'll do is I'll just talk about the three different types of compassion that I came across. So, it's just sort of seems to follow on from what Sanji's been talking about. So we've got familial compassion. So that's like FAMILIAL. So that's to do with our families. So families that perhaps we're born into. And then so it's about feeling the suffering of our close family members and, you know, feeling compelled. And that's interesting as well. I've just noticed that word compelled, and I noted what you said, Sanji, about people's hearts melting, and they're you know, they're feeling that indicates like a sense of really feeling compelled or drawn to help someone. It's not just feeling like you might want to help someone. It's like feeling, you know, almost like magnetically pulled to help somebody. So carrying on from that, family, feeling like you know, compelled to ease their suffering. Then we have the next type of compassion, and that's familiar. So FAMILIAR. So that's like our familiars, our like friends, colleagues, uh, companions, people that are on our journey, perhaps that are, you know, just perhaps not blood related or perhaps not related to us as family members, but close to us. So it's about feeling a sense of compassion towards these people. And then there's also what Stanji talks about a lot, I've noted in our conversations. It's about having compassion for a stranger. So someone that you don't know, that you come across and you feel like that sense of compassion. So that's something to think about. What I would love to also touch upon is that I came across, so I am no expert in Buddhism. Sanji's the expert.
No.
However,
No.
I have been learning about different aspects of Buddhism, certainly while we've been having our conversations, and I'm very interested in different faiths and people's beliefs. And so I've come across, and please correct me if I'm wrong,
Yes.
Sanji. So what I've come across is four noble truths of Buddhism. And the first one, human life has a lot of suffering. The second one, the cause of suffering is greed. 3, there is an end to suffering. And 4th, the way to end suffering is to follow the middle path. The reason I'm reading those out is because we've got the mention of suffering there in all of those. And I feel that there is a link there towards compassion, because where there's suffering, there can be compassion. So that's the reason I pointed those out. And I'd love to hear more from you, Sanji, about your thoughts and experience about those. Okay, that's probably all I'll say just for the moment. And then there's some other topics that we can talk about as well, or points. So I'll hand it back to you, Sanji, to just discuss what your thoughts are now.
So some people don't like to even use the term suffering because it seems, especially in English language, but in ancient language, it was just two-letter word, maybe like dukkha. It's like a vast thing, like vast knowledge or wisdom. So it says it's the path of the nobles. Nobles in the sense, sorry. The path of the nobles means people who understand. It goes a long way, and yeah, we have the suffering. We say maybe hunger or thirst, and there are some people or beings or animals even who uh, who have to think about the next meal maybe. Huh? Yesterday when we were going on the road, like I had my meal a little bit early, and there came a dog, right? And it was just staring at our vehicle. And how can you wait without giving? No, because it just came and it was very sweet and then looking at me. It was like a stray uh, dog, and I started giving him the food. No, so so likewise, they have to, even there are human beings, right? Maybe the next day, next meal, next cup of water. Some go like miles just to find a little bit of water. So the suffering goes in many levels. Maybe some rich person, they have to think maybe how the next shipload of cargo or something comes, right? And they are also in kind of something, maybe some family situation or some lawsuit. So the when you think personally also it can vary, but in a big picture also. And what if like they are humans or animals or anybody rich, poor, anybody young, elderly, but you see like how about sickness, aging, or about death even. So it's not a negative thing. More we understand
Yeah.
about it. Yeah. So some people say like dukkha lokapatita, that we are sitting on suffering, but we are looking where is this suffering, but it's like under our behinds, right? We are sitting on it and we really feel it, but sometimes we don't see. And no, no, I'm not suffering. No, like some people say, oh, no, I have the best time of my life. Sure, you do. It's fine. No, but still, what about aging? What, not to feel negative. So, what happened was like the people, when they realize, okay, there is some suffering involved, Then you see the root cause of suffering, which is like you said, greed or cravings, or like yeah, tanha, yeah, the greed factor. Then there's like the eradication of suffering. So when we learn to let go, uh, so there is a big picture as well as a little picture. They say like if you give somebody water, that's fine. No, that's a great thing you have to do, or something to drink. But at some point they will be thirsty again. It could be very fast. No? And if you feed somebody again, they maybe in the next life, if or some other time, yeah, if you give a supply of food for the entire life, which is not very easy to do, even now. But even if you do that, sometimes at some point, even if they're sick, they can become hungry again because they cannot eat. No, at that time, if you clothe somebody, even as a baby in the next life, they won't have clothes. No, and then if you shelter somebody at some time, no, maybe in another life or in some place, they can become homeless. Uh, and if you even save a life, but surely at some point they will die. But if you will teach them how to free themselves of suffering, it can be a pathway they can free themselves forever. Even if you give money, like sometimes they can become poor again. There are people who win the lottery and then crash everything down and end up homeless, right? Or on the streets, maybe, no? Uh, uh, so, uh, so the middle path is actually there are two extremes. One is like people try to indulge in all the kind of sensual activity and try to like satisfy themselves. The other extreme is they say, no, no, I don't want anything, or I have enough. That is also extreme, or they put themselves into very difficult conditions. Like some people are so stressed out or depressed. Like, I hate everybody, I hate the world. No, they can go to like suicidal depression or suicide mode even. Or like they can think of ending their lives. So this is like, so it's actually applicable for anybody. So the middle path is like, okay, no, that is also, it cannot finish satisfying everything. Huh? But you try to fill up, like, you see all these people, no, but I have spoken, we all know, no, people who are like really indulging in all these activities and all. But at some point, it's just memories for them. They say like, oh, I had a great time when I was young. But now they're elderly, they cannot do all these things. Even if they had a harem or like all the females or males they wanted. But now maybe physically they cannot do that what they did like 10, 20, 30 years ago, right? Um, Maybe that implants into their minds. So there are people who are suffering. No, they have depression also because of that. And they crave for those things. They can boast and all these things about the past, but the past is not there. Uh, so likewise, oh, they can have their own personal problem, divorces, family problems, cheating, partners. Maybe the children are like doing things like there was like a big empire like thing created like a business empire, and the second generation destroyed everything recently. The children, they were like the parents did the hard job, so they had like jewelry shops, cinema theaters, and then like business after TV corporation, like yeah, TV stations, radio stations, like a big business empire. And the children took it over. Now nothing, and they were in big fraud scams and everything. And they had like some business that they say like, if you invest in our company, we will give you profit, like big amounts of profits. I don't know what the exact name they call it. But like a financial institution, no? And but it was a scam, it seems, and they could not repay the people. People went for lawsuits, and they had to sell all these businesses, and now it's like nothing. So second generation, sometimes the third generation destroys everything. So nobody wants to end up in prison. They were in prison, no? And so even if in that scale, like people say, surely they were like, I think not like the parents. They were partying or clubbing and all these things they could do. Otherwise, how can a person collapse a business empire, within a couple of weeks? Sorry, years. So that has to be some big work have to be put it in the opposite side for that,
Mm.
right? To destroy it in a couple of years, no?
Yeah.
So in the negative side. So yeah, so the idea is like, yeah, we help people to like get some freedom from suffering in the present moment. Medicines, anything we can give. Some people even give their own organs to another person to bring them back to life or give them life again, no? And in the bigger picture, it's like seeking freedom from the suffering, because it can arise, or it will arise again. So like thirst and hunger, for that matter, no? So, or illnesses. So no, not that we are negative, but these are facts, no? This is something we have to, even if the super richest person, they also go through, no? Because they are also humans, no? They have body and mind. So what about the thoughts, or the negative thoughts and all this, no? The pains. uh, Even if they take some medicines or something to forget about it, but still the mind will be creating things, no? Or making them. So it's the idea of like freeing from ancient days, people were finding methods of freeing themselves and other people from suffering. So some people, they used to say in ancient times, like even sell, or like take debts and enjoy your life. Uh, so party, and they were like how to say, intimate festivals those days also. They used to participate, and they thought like the best of food, best of everything, just like now also. And they thought like fully indulging all the sensory doors was the way of freedom. That would be a nice excuse also, no? And then to do all the stuff you need, no? And the other thing, some people are doing self annihilation. They would not even, some would like the bare minimum of clothing. They would live like animals. They thought like the animals are like more innocent than humans, so they would eat like a cat, cows, and or like dogs, and they would live like that. They would even sleep on the floor, eat on the floor. Some people would like self like do some, I think in many religions also and many practices, they have these kind of things. I know, like they say, like they even self whip themselves, no, to bear their pains or like punishment for their sins. So likewise, in different like different religions and all, I saw there are like parades. Even little children are using kind of like sharp objects to like hurt themselves, like as a way of like maybe offering themselves, or uh, so there are all kind of these things. Some people used to use fire, and big fire, and they would go and stay near that even in like the daytime, and the food they would stop. But in a like a in a normal sense also, people say, oh, I don't want to eat anything, I give up on food. So even I, like some people hurt themselves, right? Or take, even sometimes just drink, I don't care, no, even if I die. So that is also self annihilation. Some like very reckless, no, some I have heard like incidents, some people go and crash their own cars thinking that it would end their lives. Huh? So yeah, people do all kind of things like that. Some people even make themselves so like in a difficult position to end up in jail on purpose. And I have seen like some people, like they even like provoke the police or something, and they really want him to end their lives. So yeah, so it can go to, even if it doesn't have to be ascetic practices or anything like that. Even in a normal scenario, like a civilian life, this also can happen, or drugs or anything. They don't care, no, uh, about their life, people around them, or anything. Say, I don't care, no. And they had enough, maybe they feel like. So the idea is to like free from all of these. Not like you're jumping onto the next comment and going to another room or something, no? But through like bring, how to say, the fixing the mind. Uh, so there is a path, and yeah, anybody can use it actually. And this had been there, like without the modern day labels. People were trying to free themselves from suffering.
That's really fascinating, Sanji. Thanks for your explanation of all those, examples and the, people that are like indulging so much in all the sensual pleasures as part of it. That's one extreme. And then the other extreme is people denying themselves or giving them, putting themselves in a painful situation on purpose for whatever reason. And then I guess the rest of the world is, somewhere in the middle in terms of how they deal with their suffering. And thanks also very much for explaining about suffering. And I think in English it doesn't quite translate the way that it's perhaps intended in different languages and different in terms of Buddhism and faith practices. However, the older that I get, the more that I can see. I think that my perspective has changed, and I can see, like, I watch people all the time as part of the work that I do, which is our wellness coaching, helping people, and also working in a supermarket. And the people that come into my supermarket, it's in actually a very wealthy area of Melbourne, and it's in actually a very wealthy area of Australia. It's probably one of the most affluent areas in Australia. And I watch the people and I watch them come in, and everybody has issues. We all have different levels, but even the people that have money, because the cost of living has gone up around the world, and in Australia, it's the same thing. So even the people that have are quite wealthy financially, they struggle with the cost of living, and also in terms of how people set up their lives. And you were talking about, I can't quite remember what you were talking about, but people have different in terms of people that are working towards like the example of the business empire. So those people from that generation worked really, really, really hard, and they may have come from poor backgrounds, and they decided, right, I'm going to change, my future, my destiny. I'm going to work really, really hard, earn a lot of money. And yes, people can do that, but then if they when they do that, and I also see this as part of suffering, or the life part of living life, is that once people create those standards, then they need to keep doing it. Yeah, I remember what you said now. It was about like someone organizing the next cargo of the next shipping cargo for their business. So if people reach a certain level financially, then they need to maintain it or perhaps exceed it. And then if they fall below it, then they feel like they might feel like they've failed. So everybody, yes, I'm the more I age, the more experience I have, perhaps the more inner work that I do, I can watch people and I can see that everybody has their own issues to deal with. It might be aging, it might be childhood. I also heard stories from people that, in terms of extreme reactions from their children about everyday things that a parent might do in terms of trying to create boundaries. So in this particular situations, it was about taking the device off a child and the children like punching the parents. And I thought, wow, that's incredible. And I'm showing my age a bit now and the difference in times, but when I was younger, it was the other way around. The parents, if I was doing the wrong thing, the parents they wouldn't be punching me, but they might be running after me with a slipper or a wooden spoon or threatening me that, I'm going to get you. And now it's like full circle. The kids are like the parents just trying to, it's not even discipline, it's just setting boundaries, taking like a device off a child and the children like really retaliating with anger. And yeah, so I was really blown away by that. But that's another example, like parenting. So being a parent, there's a level of suffering and I guess I probably wouldn't even call it suffering in English. I don't know that there's a word that translates exactly, but it's more the experience of life, because just by living, by breathing, we need food, we need water to wash ourselves, we need shelter, housing. They're all rights for us all, but it takes work and effort to make sure that our needs and our requirements are met on a continual basis. So that's what it's about. Every day getting up and making sure that we earn enough money to pay our bills, to have food, to access food. As you said, will involve going to another village or going to another part of where you live and making sure that you can get food. So they're responsibilities that we need to continue to fulfill, because it's not like we can just go out and buy food for the rest of our life, put it in a room of our house and never worry about it again. They're daily responsibilities, taking care of our body, making sure it's clean and healthy, and that we get enough rest, enough food, etc. Yeah, so I'll hand it back to you, and I'll be interested to hear your thoughts on those points.
Okay, thank you, Anthea. So yeah, we can see like compassion. It's explained in many places. So it's like there are many benefits of compassion also. When you take compassion, like we said, it's about helping other people, seeing the suffering. It could be a simple gesture, like even a smile sometimes. No, even just I spoke to another person, and she said like this is a lady who knows like psychology. This is like then she said like always ask a person like 2 times, how are you doing? So first time everybody says I'm okay, I'm all right, no. But then she says have a stop and ask like, are you really all right? Then they actually like think this is a person who's listening to me, and then they start actually telling, oh, I didn't sleep well, or like oh yeah, so yeah, sure, I had a great time, or like they would put something more to it. But usually we randomly ask like, how are you doing? No, I or something like that. But they say always like, I'm good, thanks, something like that. But then stop and ask like, are you really all right? Huh? And then then sometimes they say things like even what they're going through. So we can see, yeah, this can have like many benefits in the aspects of compassion, like awareness. You notice that someone is struggling or having pain, and even the emotional responses and the motivation to help. That's a big thing. It could be just like maybe lifting up something they cannot carry, or like just moving it a few steps sometimes. Uh, so um, uh, so there are different kinds of in these perspectives. Like for example, in everyday life, when people are struggling, it could be elderly person or a child or any other person for that. They could have some injury or they can feel sick for that matter. Uh, so we are moved to do something about it in the psychological sense also, like it lowers stress and anxiety, and even strengthens like relationships, increases happiness, even physical health for that matter. Even if it's somebody, people who are like in a family or relationship, or even in a class or a work environment, no, even just on the streets maybe. Just like you said, in many religions emphasize a lot on these. I know, like you have mentioned this also before. Like compassion is a big thing mentioned in even Islam, right? So to help
Sure.
people, no, encourage
Mm.
the act of mercifully towards all beings, no, like and in Christianity, like compassion is a central, like of like Jesus teaching, like caring for the poor, healing the sick, no, the forgiving of the wrong things done. So even in Hinduism, no, they it's called daya or ahimsa, like non-violence. So meaning like all life is sacred. So so likewise, in many in other religions also, even in Judaism, no, like they have like mercy, compassion. Uh, so and in even if without religion, some people like ethics. We call it like ethics without religion. Compassion is like seen as universal moral value. I saw like even posts they say like uh, if you cannot if you want if there's or if you want to be anything, just be kind. Uh, So, Anthea, I think you will explain like kindness, empathy, compassion. But third, but it all has some familiarity or something in common. So, and the lack of compassion we can see, especially in the world today, the absence of concern, kindness, and sometimes I listen to like what people talk, and some people are so cold, and they have somebody had luckily recorded it and put it online even, and the way they respond, the way they talk, it seems so cold. There were like some children searching for their parents, and the parents' response was so cold. You feel sad by just watching it, no? And then there was another partner, and she was cheating on or the person. I don't say who it is, but cheating. And when the other person found it out, and this person was so casual about it. Uh, they have been there for a long time, but didn't even bother this person. At least, like, okay, if that person could think like, hey, I did this wrong, and then at least I should ask for forgiveness, or like maybe this person is suffering because of none of that, and just said like, I stopped caring for a long time. This person said. Uh, so some people can be really, really cold, and the lack of people can have like the indifference to pain and hardships, even to their own body itself sometimes, no? And judgment instead of support. There are Anthea, some people who bring like deep religious teachings also, but they are very like sneaky or cunning actually. So they say, oh, look at this person's karma. If we try to do this, like they won't finish their karma. They say, come on, right? If you know so much about karma, why don't you? I have heard as a kid when I was on a bus, there was a person who was coming and asking for something, and the person was like next to me. I was a little kid at that time. No, was telling, and I also didn't have much of a clue at that time. And he was telling, like looking, oh, he's look at his karma. Now, so what to do? What can we do? Why don't you just give some at that no some sense or something? At those days, that will build you a karma if you knew so much about karma, no? So
That's what I was thinking as well.
yeah, no, if you knew that,
Mm.
if you could like think of this person's karma, why can you not reflect on your karma, no? So people
Mm.
like they become so harsh or like so artificial. Uh, so even for themselves, they can have this. And then the failure to help whenever, huh? The dehumanization behavior, they don't act human because we are supposed to be like human, no? We are human. Huh? But when we take that part away of compassion and all, we are not, we are like, even it's not good to refer as a stone. Even stone can be help for some animal or being who lives maybe under it, or give some protection. No, they can sometimes jump on it and protect themselves. Uh, but being human, being so intelligent, all these things, sometimes we put ourselves so low and think like some people watching news and there may be two factions fighting and they see like they're well, support their side supporting the side they are supporting winning, but the other people are going through so much hardships, no? Maybe they are cheering along. uh, so and some places it says like think of this thing, if it happens to you, how would you feel? For example, they say like they end the lives of some suffering animals, they say. So if those days, I don't know nowadays, even if they do, it's horrible. If a horse broke its leg, they would put out it from its own suffering. So if they broke a leg, somebody would come and shoot them. No, right? Uh, so any animal has the right to live, and they talk about humane ways of killing. What can be a human way of killing, right? So you jab one of those things and see it onto your leg or arm and see how it feels.
Mm.
How? No, no, right? They wouldn't want even that to happen.
No.
Yeah, so the compassion goes a long way, no? But we are lacking this compassion so much now. And this can end up in like serial killers even.
Mm.
Really. The lack of compassion. They say trends like little some children when they're torturing animals for some reason. Uh, that can be a stage like for like future very dangerous people to appear. It could be male or female, it doesn't matter. Uh, that it can be like signs of that. And sometimes they ask like, did you not see these things happening when you... And sometimes those parents say, oh, we didn't think it was such serious thing. Then it end up that this person takes like a huge bunch of lives after that in maybe 2 or 3 decades. Yeah, please, you also.
Okay, so I'm conscious that we've been talking for about an hour. So I'm very curious about your thoughts about how to free ourselves from suffering. Is this something that you could talk about? Is it something that we could perhaps dedicate another
Exactly.
session to?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And I
Yeah,
think
because I'm
compassion also we can do a few episodes about
okay.
compassion. I
All right.
think there's so much. No, and from the facts you also brought up,
Yeah,
there's a lot of in
yeah.
store, no?
Yeah, because we can still talk about the differences between altruism, compassion, and empathy as well. I think that's worth discussing
Mm.
and, examine ways freeing ourselves from suffering. I think that, we want to give it the time and attention that it deserves. So let's talk about that next week. Mm.
Mhm.
All right. Well, perhaps we shall wind up our discussion this evening. It's been very interesting and thought provoking, and it's gone like that. It's gone so quickly. It just
So
feels
fast.
like we've been talking about for about 5 minutes. So, but I'm conscious that it's been a bit over an hour. So, thank you very much for your time. And I've really, as always, I learn a lot, and I always feel like I benefit
We
in lots
share,
of
right? We
ways.
share, right? Yeah, yeah,
We
yeah,
share,
sure.
but I guess I just get surprised because my intention to come to these discussions is about helping other people. But it's amazing how I think it's a reflection. It's talking about, it's like karma. If you have an intention to help other people, you get helped yourself. So I
Mhm.
always get surprised by how much I benefit from it. So
Yeah, we all
I feel
benefit,
very
no?
grateful. Yeah,
I
we
also
all
like to
benefit.
listen to people
Exactly.
and what their ideas and all these things, and I also
Yeah.
definitely learn a lot.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. So I wish all the best to anyone who may watch this in the future. And I wish you all the best, Sanji, as well.
Mhm.
And I believe you've had some special celebrations this week. So if you're
Mhm.
still celebrating, I
Yes.
send you lots of blessings and merits for your celebrations. And yeah, that's about it from me.
Uh-huh. So actually, this is a celebration of kindness, because
Right.
those days, yeah, yeah, like it says like a king was going hunting, and then these like enlightened beings they came, and this was a different language here and all these things, and the king like heard just somebody calling out his name, and nobody talks to a king like in their first random name, no, like the first name, no. Like then he was like, who in the world is like doing this, no? And then he saw this, and they were speaking in his own language, and he was like astonished by that. And they asked like, what are you doing? He said like, this is the full moon and we are going hunting. Uh, and it says like after that he could not do it no more. And there are some very intellectual questions just to check his wisdom. And they taught him like, king, this land and all the beings in it, it doesn't belong to you. You are only the protector of it. So he was very wise. It seems he just dropped his bows and arrows and everything, stopped uh, the fight, the aggression and everything. And then he started ruling very nicely. It seems. And yeah, so it's commemorated until today, and people like offer other people lots of food, and they save animals that are put into slaughter, especially within this time period, because there are like chickens, goats, cows. So people collect sometimes money all through the year because they are expensive. And sometimes there are these people who are doing these slaughterhouses and all, they put up the price bars knowing this, but still people give the money, and then they find specific farmers who don't kill these animals or put them back to the slaughterhouse. So it is considered as a time that to remember empathy or like kindness, compassion, and it's commemorated in this full moon.
That's beautiful. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Well, that really links in with our topic tonight. So
Mhm.
that's amazing. Mm.
Mhm. So thank you so much, Anthea. It's a great pleasure, like as always. And yeah, hopefully, like we'll do a few sessions about compassion. I think
Yeah.
there'll be much more to talk about it. And
Yes.
then yeah, and one about suffering. Maybe like we can talk about. They talk about like the suffering, the cause of suffering, the eradication of suffering, the path of eradication. We don't have to label it in any kind of. We try to talk it about in a general way,
Sure.
so it is applicable for anybody, because people are trying
Definitely.
hard, and nowadays also they try hard through many means and ways, and sometimes even very negative ways of trying to. For example, if somebody, it's horrible, it's nobody should do it, but still a person who want to end their life, they are also trying to escape, but
That's exactly right.
they don't see another way maybe at that time, but there are millions of ways, no, to,
Yeah.
but at that time they are so cornered and helpless or anything,
Mm.
they
Yeah.
want to end, but it doesn't stop like that.
No.
Then
No.
everybody could have easy way out, no, like a distraction
Mm.
button or something, and boom, everything is.
Yeah.
But no, it doesn't end. So we can talk about why, if somebody took did something like that, also what happens, but not in one way like that even, but in all ways, no. It's
Sure.
very very nice, very wholesome, and
Yes.
uh, and we can see it from all directions, scientific side, religious, what they say, spiritual side, and what really would happen at that time, uh, and what even this classification of suffering, uh, and what is greediness. So then cannot people have any likes or dislikes, no? Is it fair? Come on, no, like we should enjoy the life also, not like no, we are rocks and we just should like wait like this, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And then even
Mm.
like the freedom of, because it can happen from a, say, as I am like very stingy or something of some particular item I have. uh, when we were kids, sometimes even it could be a little thing even, right? a toy or a pencil, like my favorite pencil, no? And then if somebody, no, 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 it's like a tiny pencil. But sometimes when you give it, like we feel like so happy afterwards than when we owned it, no? Uh, but as adults, we can do so much things. So it's there's a spiritual approach, even like no in a normal scenario. So there is a path for freedom from suffering. Uh, and then not only freedom from suffering, sorry, and then the path what we can do. So yeah. So yeah, there's so many things we can discuss.
I think we've got plenty of topics. I've just
uh,
written down about 4 weeks worth more topics.
that is just
So
for that, and
that's
then I think compassion also can we can go like no.
yeah, compassion, a few
Uh,
more episodes, suffering, freedom. And then I've also written another topic.
yeah.
I don't know whether it fits into it or not, or whether it might be separate again, attachment to things, because I don't
Yeah,
think
for
we've
sure.
talked about that at
Mm.
depth either, in depth. So that would be something fascinating.
Attachment, detachment, no?
Mm.
Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. All right. On that note, let's detach from this episode until next week. And yes, I look forward to speaking with you next week on
Sure.
compassion, another episode on compassion.
Okay. Thank you so much, Anthea, and thank you for everybody. And surely we'll put
Thank you.
Anthea's and our details so anybody can contact us in the post as well as the video description. So anybody can join us also on these Fridays and discuss. And this is like open and a free space. We don't go for politics or these kind of things, but anybody can is free to talk their ideas, or even if they don't just want to put out something they have or like that, also they can express themselves. So this is like open space for all positive and wholesome things.
Most definitely. And if people want to express themselves and they don't want it to be what they express to be part of the recording, Sanji can edit it out so that it's a personal, confidential conversation between the three of us. So don't have any concerns about that either.
Mhm. And in the very moment also, Anthea, we can stop the recording.
Sure, either
So
way.
yeah, so they also can see whether it's recording or not, and it always
That's,
like
yeah,
shows like it's the recording started, recording stopped, and it
yeah,
always so the people who are like talking these things also they can also can witness these things. They can switch off their cameras if they want, no?
exactly. Yeah, just let us know or we'll ask you or we'll work it out. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, protect everybody.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Anthea, you have a
All
great
right.
rest and a very good night to you also, and for
Thank you.
everybody, have a wonderful day.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Sanji.
Thank you, Anthea.